So one of the biggest hurdles to rationalizing the technology landscape is that I've first got to stop the sprawl that continues, which means I've got to put some controls around things. I've got to stop people from just putting data here, there, and everywhere. I've got to stop the organization from deciding it needs a new application every couple of months, or stopping independent departments from deciding that they need a new application or a new way of doing something. So I've got to actually create some control. And that is the biggest hurdle, because we've sort of let the cat out of the bag. We sort of gave this really autonomous, we kind of created this autonomous environment and said everyone can do whatever they want. It's all in the cloud. It's easy to do. Finance, you need to do something, go do something. Operations, you need to do something, yeah, go do something. Do what you need to do. We want you to be, successful. Unfortunately, without the controls, it's why we have these highly sprawled environments. There's different technologies. Again, data is sort of spread everywhere. Who knows who's really in control of cybersecurity in some organizations? We've got to get the control back first. And that's a difficult subject. It's difficult for two reasons. Number one, who is the controller? Who's going to control that information and the compute and the technology? You would normally say, well, that would be the IT organization or the CIO. They would be the one who would be responsible for that. But in modern organizations, unfortunately, we've given some of that control over to the business owners and the business leaders. And the business leaders may not actually know how to control information or know how to control a technology environment. So wresting that control back is difficult. It's, once you have autonomy, it's really hard to give it up. It's really hard to give up that control. So unfortunately, though, I think it's going to be a requirement if we're going to create optimized, standardized, capable foundations that everyone can use. There's got to be a center that allows us to understand what's important to the firm as a whole and make those decisions in a way that prioritize what's best across the business and not by individual departments or individual business units. So I think that's probably the biggest hurdle to creating this foundational landscape that we need within technology within most businesses. We have seen some very interesting and actually very successful governance models that work to establish control and establish control mechanisms that don't put the power in one hand or the other, but actually puts the power jointly in the hands of the business and technology or IT. Those are sometimes called two-in-the-box models. We tend to call them shared accountability models or joint accountability models. Those are really critical because, look, you can occasionally find a unicorn of a person who understands all of the business implications as well as all of the technology implications, but they are unicorns. In most cases, I really need the business leader who understands the business implications of how technology is or should be used or data. And I also need a technologist, a technology leader who's capable of recognizing, understanding, and representing the technology implications of decisions that are being made. If you can create that joint accountability model where you have representation from both sides of that equation, you're going to have a much more effective decision making, but you'll also have a recognition that all of the decisions that we make actually have multiple sides to them, and everyone's sort of on board with the decisions that are made. Instead of pointing fingers at the person who made the decision, if you try to, as you think of it, as wrest control from people, it's really establishing control across the organization with the right decision makers at the table making those decisions. And doing that in a consistent manner allows us to make those decisions and have the right control mechanisms in place